Stop! Hi. What is up, y'all? You should have bought UNH when we told you. What is UNH? Is that the ticker for United Health? I have no idea. Are you able to give any context to the IDF clip going around Twitter? Basically, as somebody who's done like a lot of really evil, and I usually almost always get away with it, the Mossad reached out to me and they were like, could you give us like tips on how to obscure genocidal behavior? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why don't you guys all dress in civilian clothes, come out to an incredibly public area, and then I can record on my camera tips on how to avoid being held accountable for genocide. And they were like, fucking A, let's go.
I couldn't find the fucking menu in my hand! Fuck!
Did you lose? We're making more bomber jackets. Look how cute this guy is. Wait. It's very thick though. Is there a guy in the back? What? No cute guy. Oh, look, you got a thing for your magazines. You can slip them right in here. If you want to be tactical. Hold on. Sorry, I got distracted by the cat. Look. Look at this. Look at how cute that is. It's a gnome guy. Oh my goodness. And look at how cute that is. We need a Mexican flag one. Just kidding.
I love the state. As you know, Ron and I have had a
Alligator
really great
Alcatraz
relationship for a long time. We had a little off period for a couple of days, but it didn't last long. It didn't last long. And a lot of respect for each other. And it's a great honor to be deep in Florida, the Florida Everglades, to open America's newest migrant.
Holy shit, we should go see him.
Incredibly built, and you're seeing that yourself. That's why I said, let the press join us on our walk so they can see what's happening. It's known as Alligator Alcatraz, which is very appropriate because I looked outside and that's not a place I want to go hiking anytime soon. But very soon this facility will house some of the most menacing migrants, some of the most vicious people on the planet. We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation. And a lot of these people are self-deporting back to their country where they came from. Quite a few. We're amazed at actually the number. We took the FEMA money that Joe Biden allocated to pay for the free luxury hotel rooms, where he's paying hundreds of millions of dollars in New York City, and we used it to build this project. And Narana was just a little fraction of that money. The money they spent on that project, I happen to know the real estate developer. He's a very he never really made that much.
255. Or 255 seconds, not too long.
Take number 35. You can't prove a negative.
Okay.
This claim is self-defeating. If you could prove or show that this is the case, well, then you would have thereby shown that you cannot prove a negative. In other words, you would have thereby proven a negative, right? You would have proven that it's not the case that a negative can be proven. And so if you could show that this very statement is true, you would have demonstrated its own falsity. And so it's self-defeating. I mean, listen, either you can't show it's true, in which case, why are you saying it? It's not going to be justified. Or you can show that it's true, in which case you can prove a negative, and in which case it's going to have to be false. It entails that it's either unjustified or that it's false. It either undermines itself or rebuts itself. Now you may think, well, what I'm saying is that you can't like decisively, conclusively prove a negative, but you can still justify various negative claims. One problem for that is that you actually can prove a negative for independent reasons. I mean, there's an entire law of logic dedicated to proving negatives, namely the law of non-contradiction, which says that says that there can be no true contradictions, which has as a consequence that it's not the case that anything can be both A and not A in the same respect and at the same time. And so if you can show that something implies that something would have to be both A and not A in the same respect and at the same time, as many people have shown with lots of different things, well then we can prove that it's not the case that those things exist. For instance, we can prove that it's not the case that there exists a square circle. That would amount to something being both square and not a square, which is impossible. So it's also false to say that you cannot prove a negative. But also, like, once you go that weaker route and say you like, well, what I'm just saying is that you can't conclusively demonstrate a negative. You can justify various negative claims. Once you say that, well, then you're kind of zapping this motto of its force. Like, usually this comes up when people are asking for justification for thinking God doesn't exist. And when people respond to that by saying you can't prove negative, you know what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, well, you can't justify those sorts of negative claims. If what they're really saying is, well, you can't decisively demonstrate that they're the case, well, then that response would just be irrelevant to someone requesting for at least some reason to think that God doesn't exist or some justification. And in any case, literally any universal generalization is equivalent to a negative claim. Right? If you say all Fs are G, you're saying that no Fs are non-G. If all cats are white, then no cats fail to be white. That is, no cats are non-white. And of course, we can definitely know various universal generalizations and show them to be true. For example, that all electrons are negatively charged, that all humans are animals, and so on. And notice that these are all equivalent to negative claims, right? To show that all electrons are negatively charged, you will thereby show that there are no non-negatively charged electrons. That's a negative claim. And since we can come to know that all electrons are...
Wow.
But he became very wealthy. With luxury, he didn't do well. With people that are not exactly luxury, he's made a fortune. I want to thank Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and Florida Attorney General James Uthmire. Where is James? Where is he? You do a very good job. I hear good things. I hear good things about you from Ron too. No, you really do. He's even a good-looking guy. That guy's got a future, huh? Good job, James. I hear you did really, really fantastic work.
Hi, baby.
You're like in the construction business for a few days, right? Huh? Congratulations. For all the hard work and to make this facility possible. It's amazing. Thanks as well to Florida Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson. Where is Wilton? Where are you, Will? Hi, Wilton. Been a long time. Thank you. Congressman Byron Donalds. Where's Byron? Hi, Byron. How are you? Good. Florida Speaker of the House, Daniel Perez. Daniel? Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Why, you didn't want to sit up here with us, Daniel? Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie. Hi, Kevin. Good job. Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Todd, great job. And Senator Joe Gruters. He is a great guy. Where is Joe?
Okay. When people are saying they can't prove a negative, they're simply confusing the terms and have poor understanding of logic. Usually they mean something like, the thing you're asking me to prove is not falsifiable. I don't know where this can't prove a negative thing came from. Yeah. Well, if that guy was talking in the context of like God debates, so they're usually like a little bit more formal. But yeah, usually when people say you can't prove a negative, what they're actually saying is like, the thing that you're asking me to disprove would require such an overwhelming amount of evidence that you would never have access to, that it's an unreasonable claim to ask me to falsify, right? Like, for instance, if you were to say, can you prove that, prove that Biden, never spoke to an Algerian? And it's like, okay, well, I guess I need a list of every single person he's ever spoken to. Like, I can't prove that. People might say, oh, you can't prove the negative or something, or like, but it's like I think that's usually what people are talking about. But for God debates, it's usually, or atheist stuff, it's usually a little bit more formal. All right, well, what's going on today? What do we got on the old LSF? Destiny reacts to Hasan. Ooh, 1 hour, 28 comments. What was this? If I buy the $500 unfuck ticket, would you bring one of your SM7B so I can upgrade my shit Yeti? Well, that feels weird. You're just giving them a lot of money to take a $400 mic off of me?
Culture is. I think it started when he played Twitcher Terrorist after he came back from his ban and leaned heavily on deplatforming terrorist supporters because you may
not. It's in class that when the teacher called them to read, the whole class was like, oh, no. Why am I bullying him? No. Wow, all three mentioned at the title. This is going at the top soon. Based. Every comment is a meta comment. Hell yeah. Stop! Stop! You don't need to be over there. There's so many windows for you to look out, and you're just trying to be a terrorist. Don't even think about it. Okay. Okay.
To silence me from speaking out to prevent that from happening. I'm the only person that's advocating for gay rights here. I'm the most pro-trans and pro-LGBT person on the platform. And the reason why is because I'm the only person with the balls to call out the people that are the bad actors. Nobody else will call out the bad actors. And I also hold the line with saying that I think gay people should be married. I think adults should be able to transition. I don't care about this. I think the bathroom stuff is complex, but overall, I don't think it's a big deal. Nobody else is saying this shit. Nobody is saying this. And the reason why is because they're afraid. They're afraid of alienating their radicalized audiences that they've cultivated over the years, and that's the reason. Do you think kids struggling should just have no resources?
This is like a lukewarm. Okay, don't care.
I don't have closing statements or thoughts except that I want to go leave my PC and for a walk and de-stress and have a beer. Remember to mention my name. Yo, shout outs to this. Who's a real one, who's always there, pushing me, questioning me. Yo, thanks for the GGs, guys. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, greetings to my mom, yeah. You earned that beer. Yeah, I think maybe even Bula's gonna give me a Belgian beer.
Imagine wasting your time playing fucking
Or,
video games. Absolute degenerate fucking losers.
You need to stop playing mobile games and return to Dota. I know I have gotten too emotional and I said some inappropriate things, but it is out of passion. Dota community has done too much for you to walk away into the arms of the enemy. You don't need to unban me, but stop playing children game, please. I think that's about League of Legends. The enemy.
Base.
Fuck it, mine another one. Wait. Okay.
Why is he playing this game?
Help! Shrimps! Eat it! Eat it! No! Ah! No!
A bunch of WoW players started playing it? Gotcha.
Dude, I'm fucked.
Oh, I didn't even die.
Fuck it, mine another one. Wait. Okay. Help! Shrimps! Eat it!
Do you have any hope that the House will stop the bill this time with Marjorie Taylor Greene having problems with it? So if you're always going to have a few rebels in your party who, you know, like your Rand Pauls or maybe your Marjorie Taylor Greene sometimes, depending on how, you know, pure they want to be with their beliefs. You can always have these types of people. It doesn't matter for anything if you don't have enough people to actually overturn a bill. These people will be vocal because they can signal to their constituents how they feel about a thing, and they can take a principled stance against it. The Justice Dems do this sometimes. However, it's symbolic more than anything else because you don't have enough votes to actually stop the thing. So how many votes do they need in the House to actually prevent the passage of that for the budget reconciliation?
Is about Destiny tweeting about Alyssa being...
Hey, that's me!
down bad for Hasan.
Dude, this is another thing that I've noticed is like a very common meta amongst my stalkers and my haters is constantly undermining women by, I think, projecting as well, because there is definitely like a weird sexual pathology associated with the way they stalk my ass.
Little bro, you're disgusting. What?
So they just kind of project that own sexual desires upon other people and will instantly undermine female journalists.
Sorry. Gotta do it. Don't like to bully this chick because I don't even know if she's like anything anymore. Feels mean, feels like a bully, but...
Sometimes it feels like the stars
Hey, that's me!
align and the least likely person to come to your defense is somebody who you've laughed at for years for being so ridiculous. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode
Oh, I'm in the title. Destiny Exposes.
Smash JT. Today we have Destiny, of all people, joining the cause of exposing Alyssa Mercante for not being an actual gamer. And in this case, not just not being a gamer, but being addicted to the activist known as Hasan and trying so hard for her to be acknowledged by him to the point of being pathetically embarrassing with all of her tweets to him. And it has to make you wonder, is Alyssa going to try to send a C&D to Destiny now? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article and images breaking down everything that Destiny shared on Twitter, completely exposing Alyssa Mercante as an activist. Alyssa Mercante has finally caught the attention of someone outside the usual...
Oh wait, never mind. Somebody has a thing. This is probably better. This makes me harder than the porn awards ever could. I don't know how your Friday's going, but Hasan just read my joke out loud on his stream. Yeah, I'm a Hasan Piker groupie. I will not apologize for this. I've been inseminated by a pic of Hasan the Hun wearing his new union-made merch featuring Bernie Sanders while reading Dune. Landed in New York for a wedding and the weather is awful. Was informed that weddings can reschedule if it's raining. This should be illegal. So are we going out? Or nah? Alyssa, please. I refuse to lose my friend to a gags. Twitch streamer. I can't help it. Men be scared to dress, but Hasan the Hun is up in my eyes like... How is he signing anything with those sausages? BB, if you're in New York, you're supposed to tell me. BB, I'm waiting. It's Clementine, but woke. Hasan, get me on the show to break down this GG2 nonsense, heart. Are you DEI hotties ready? The fire sale, get rich or DEI try and streamathon. An auction for Trans Lifeline starts now. Someone tell Hasan the Hun. We've raised $13,000 for Trans Lifeline, and I haven't even gotten Hasan the Hun to notice us yet. Let's fucking go. I'll be at TwitchCon San Diego this year, and I want to talk to creators. Paging Hasan the Hun. Let's get his eyes on this. Hasan, I'm trying to chat with you at TwitchCon for a Kotaku story. Let's do this. Lick my socialist ass hill. Zaddy is getting cupped now. Hell yeah. I'm sorry, like, excuse me, we're projecting? Bro, give me a break, come on.
Projecting as well, because there is definitely like a weird sexual pathology associated with the way they stalk my ass. So they just kind of project that own sexual desires upon other people.
Her at TwitchCon, by the way.
Artist alley straight across. Meet and greet is the floor below us in another area.
Yeah, he calls me a stalker. This person is actually a stalker, all right?
So if you want to do meet and greet, then we're going to do the back of house route to get you there straight.
Yeah, and also it's probably the same for. It would probably be the same for going into like the behind the scenes for Twitch Rivals, right?
Like the Twitch Rivals area to go see Austin before he goes on?
If you want to do that, yeah, we would go back a house. Meet and greet is right next to the Twitch Rivals. So I think it's 4:30. Enterprise is 4:30, so they're probably.
Alyssa,
Hi.
I heard you to run.
No, yeah, we have.
Oh, hello. What's all this? Oh, what's this, Alyssa Mercante? Trying to schmooze with Hasan while you're at TwitchCon 2. I wonder how that's going to go. Let's find out, shall we, ladies and gentlemen?
We have a couple different things that we need to infiltrate.
You're pretty busy.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry for
I was
not.
going to pick your brain about gamers and politics, but...
Yeah, we can do it another time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Good luck.
Perfect.
You are tall. He's a tall guy.
Let's do let's go through the back route, go into Twitch Rivals backstage, go in.
Like, this chick made Hasan so uncomfortable that he ghosted her. He never met her for this interview. And he's trying to say we're projecting? Hello?
And will instantly undermine female journalists, regardless of whatever sector they're covering.
Oh my.
Ethan has been doing this to Cat and Barge and obviously Taylor Lorenz.
Taylor Lorenz?
Reasonably good looking. And like, here's the other thing with Hasan. He's unreasonably good looking and like cool and dresses cool.
Tell me about it.
But you know what I mean? Like Hasan would be an influencer no matter what he was saying because he is
hot,
very attractive and very cool and genuinely a good person too. I will say, like, Hasan is actually a cool, fun, good person.
Wait, hold on. This is retarded. I shouldn't have even played this. Taylor's comments aren't that bad here. The other guy is a little bit, maybe, but not even. Actually, this one isn't even close. This isn't even remotely close to Alyssa's level. That one's fine.
And I guess Destiny did this to Alyssa Mercante. And it's so fucking strange. Like, I've heard people refer to the three people that...
because I called him out for... He's got, like, the frat boy sexism. He's not, like... I don't think he hates women. He just is... He's got, like, that old... The good old boy. The Turkish expat frat boy Rutgers sexism, you know. So now he wants to say that I'm sexist. Base king. You don't have to call me sexist, though. I openly admit that I fucking hate women. Yes.
Ethan is suing as like my harem. Again, fucking.
Has Ethan used that comment? Ethan might have. Ethan always goes. I feel like he goes a little further on that than I ever do. But
insane, like an insane thing to state. Like, it's just. I don't know. I don't know why they. I mean, I do know why they do that. Because
they do it because we're trying to discredit women journalists because we both hate women and you and don't want you to have any favorable coverage.
They're gross.
Oh, my bad. Or that one. I needed to regress like 10 grades there.
But still very strange. Additionally strange if they don't actually, if they're women especially. Like, how the fuck are you a female fan of any of these people and you go, oh yeah, that's right. This is a harem.
Wait, did Ethan say that? Just to be clear, Hasan would never have like a harem of women like this. Hasan would exclusively fuck for clout if he thought there was clout to be gained. I don't even know if this guy would have sex recreationally. I think for him it's like purely would be back in the frat days like a status thing, and now would be like if he felt like he could gain something off of it. There'd be like a 10 out of 10 twins, quintuplets all ready to bang him, and he'd be like, wait a second. Give me your phones. I need to check your follower account.
But like, who isn't? Also, how is this news? How is any of this article worth?
Wait. What's up with the troll, or not troll? You're not. I don't even think she's eating cables. She just like just sits back there because she knows it triggers me. Because you look like you're gonna eat cables. She's not back there. Never mind. I'm having a schizo moment. What? If there's a fantasy about banging twins, is that not incest? Did we ever... is the jury out on that, or how does that work? For the twins, yes. But does nobody ever think of that? How do the twins feel? What the fuck? Depends on how much they interact. The twins don't fuck each other, so it's fine. Hold on. If the twins don't fuck each other and it's fine, what was our solution to the Romeo and Juliet statutory rape paradox? An 18-year-old, or I'm sorry, wait. Like in some states, like a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old are allowed to have sex or whatever because of the close in age exception, right? And a 17-year-old, I could probably have sex with a 15-year-old. I don't actually know, but I'm guessing they can, right? Because of a close in age exception. What if these people had a foursome with say a 50-year-old, and they do a giant train? If he fucks him and then he fucks her, or her, him, her, him, her, him, but like these people never interact, is this acceptable since he's only interacted with a 19-year-old? Or is it like statutory rape by proxy? Because if the twincest isn't incest, then is this not statutory rape? I don't know, guys. Just saying. Why? In The Merchant of Venice, who do you think Hasan sides with? I don't even remember that fucking play. Fuck. Antonio, is he the main one? Shylock is the Jew guy. Portia is the wife who dresses up like a man for the jury scene. I don't remember, bro. This is legitimately like 20 years ago. 36, 22 years ago? 21 years ago?
Why does he keep doing this? Like, this is so weird. Like I don't know what's going on here. Anybody who's watching this, fellas, if you're watching this, please, what am I missing? What are you seeing that?
It's so performative. I wish there's got to be like some other environment that we can create for people like this, like Hasan and all these people, where it's like, okay, you guys can go here and do that, and then the other people can come over here and do this. I guess it's just academia, which is boring, where you like write papers at each other. Like, what's the issue? Well, why not just look at the actual argument? But I mean, like, they never do that, right? It's the simulacrum stuff. Like, if you want to know what the issue is, why not like watch 4 minutes of a video of me talking about it and then respond to that? Notice how, despite how much Hasan can't keep my name out of his mouth, there's nothing up there. You're literally doing this to troll me. I know you're trolling me. Yeah, and then she gets bored. What are you doing? There's nothing to chase in here. You're not going back there. It's a white wall. Wait. Where are you going? Hi. Hello, babe. Why? And then she just leaves. She's gonna come back in 5 minutes. I don't even know what she's doing. She goes in and out, in and out, in and out. This cat has schizophrenia. She's stressed? No, she's not stressed.
I'm not. Please tell me why you and so many others seem to hate.
I disagree, but I'm afraid to say why as your mazel perma.
Oh. Bruh. I use the base one too much now.
Base?
I need to stop using that.
Do you think that journalists offer me favorable coverage because they agree with what I'm saying, or do you think it's because they want to fuck me? Because
I mean, does he think that my claim is that all the favorable coverage he gets is because all the journalists want to fuck him? I think there are a couple that are weird about it. That Alyssa girl is super weird about it. But I think all the other coverage, I think, is probably a result recently of the, he hired a PR firm recently I think that plugged him up with a whole bunch of profiles and shit. And for a lot of those people, there's probably, they ideologically align with the mask that Hasan wears. Because when Hasan does all of these profile pieces and everything, he pretends to be SOCDEM. He pretends to be a progressive, not a tanky. That's why he got so ass pain. His community got so mad, and they had to change it when they did that one piece for, was it the New York Times? Where they called him like a liberal something, and they had to get rid of the word liberal because his audience was getting so mad about it. And then I think, and then eventually they changed it. I don't remember what the article was, but why don't you hire a PR firm? Fuck that shit. I'm raw, baby. Like your mom's ass after I fuck it. I'm sorry. I'm just in a video game. Stop.
Deal. But the moment.
Seems like work well for Hasan and Asmongold. Did Asmongold hire a PR firm? Or has he been doing anything with it? Can you give a quick definition of the working class? Many people in the sub seem to be confusing it for 100K plus income per year. I just had a conversation actually with a friend in real life about this a while ago. The reality is there is no definition. Working class and middle class, none of these things actually mean anything. They're just kind of like things that people talk about in arguments, or they like broadly gesture towards some type of thing. Like really, there is not like a strict definition. Like middle class tends to be white collar worker, educated, college educated, tends to be people that could afford a house, multiple cars, maybe vacation. People aren't on the cusp of like financial ruin if they get a speeding ticket, you know, like stuff like it's like middle class. Working class, I think, is more, tends to be like service level worker, blue collar worker, high school educated worker, like probably not living in a house or the best part of the city or stuff like that, you know. It was so obviously a PR stunt coordinator through his agency. All the articles that wrote about his Border Patrol experience released their article within an hour of him talking about what happened on stream. Yeah, I mean, you say PR stunt, but what actually, I mean, what probably happened was there's a lot of interest. Remember, this is a story that a lot of people want. There was a lot of interest generated when he talked about it. And I'm sure that his PR agency reached out and offered to a bunch of connections that they have for mainstream media, like, hey, he's going to talk about this. I know you want this story. Like, we can give you a quote or something, or we can give you some more information if you want to publish about it. Yeah. Wouldn't the middle class have a strict definition based off of income distribution? Absolutely not. Especially because you got to consider, like, income means so many different things to so many different people. Like, if I say, like, hey, you're making $60K a year, are you doing well? Like, if you lived in Des Moines, you're probably doing okay. Yeah, Des Moines is a single person, it's $60K for sure. If you're a family of 4 living in the Bay, it's gonna be a lot rougher. It's so hard to generalize, even in a city. And really, like, if you have experience living in a real city and you've moved around a bit, even in a city, it's kind of hard to generalize. Like, you can make jokes about San Francisco, but like living in downtown San Francisco is probably gonna be a lot different than the outskirts of some San Franciscan suburb or whatever. Or like I can speak to Omaha. Living in downtown Omaha near like Jean Leahy Mall or at like in the old market is going to be probably a lot more expensive than living in, you know, a random suburb off of like, I don't know how far west Omaha goes. Oh, I guess it goes all the way through Elkhorn now, motherfuckers. I say now, but that was like a decade ago. But like living off of like 200th Street in some random development, you know. It is just a fact, though, that the lower income percentiles did not vote for Mamdani overwhelmingly, which is a claim the bots keep making. Maybe, but then you just have to wheel out your, they don't know what's good for them. Which actually could, I mean, in some ways can be true. Why don't poor people just move to cheap places and they won't be poor? Poor people tend to live in poor places. That's generally what happens. What the fuck? Oh, wait, hold on.
There are far more male journalists who are straight men, married men, as a matter of fact, that have written extensively about me and I don't hear anybody chirping about them. As a matter of fact, when they write, they'll the attitude is, oh, Hasan paid for this article. When it's a female journalist that writes about me, then it's like, oh, this person wants to fuck him.
This part,
like, it's so weird. Let me try this. Hold on. Let me try this. Let's see how this feels for a stream segment. Wait, hold, is there a mouse or something? What? You're acting like there's something back there. I know there's nothing back there. What could you possibly be looking at? Look. There's nothing back here. What? What are you looking for? What do you want? There's nothing back here. Hi. Hi. Hi, baby. No! Oh, I got you. Oh! What? Stop. Okay, chill. Oh my god. Just, there's nothing back there. Calm the fuck down. Okay. My god. Anyway, did you see the stream segment yesterday where Hasan was talking about how ethical it would be to marry children, like to marry 6-year-olds? I just don't know why he says stuff like that. It's crazy. I think that he literally only says it because he hates children and he wants them to get married to adults. Like, it's so crazy. Like, why would anybody even make an argument like that? Like, it's so insane that somebody would say something. It's disgusting. Okay, I'm bored now. It just feels so dumb. Like, let me make up some honestly retarded shit. Let me just make up obviously retarded stuff and then talk about it and talk against it for the next 10 minutes. Like, it's just so cringe.
Person, because I'm just not seeing it. Like, what am I missing?
Why not, like, watch an actual video with some criticism then? Why not, like, watch an actual thing? Maybe for once? No?
The only thing I'm seeing here is a bunch of losers continually injecting themselves into nothing that has to do with them.
Why not injecting themselves into nothing that has to do with them? I'm sorry, are we not allowed to talk about the news now? Unless we're, what?
Lying about something, or both. Ethics in games journalism. Also, this guy keeps a very normal list of gaming journalists he thinks are bad on his website, and conveniently, most of them are women.
You're a fucking insane.
Why? Don't lump me in with this guy though, okay? Because the JT dude, that guy is probably weird. But if you watch the JT guy, he's literally fucking roasting me in the beginning of the fucking video.
Sometimes it feels like the stars align.
Like, the whole start of this video is the guy saying, like, oh, here's a guy that I would never agree with saying something. Like, so how am I even being lumped in with this guy?
Insane psycho. Quickly explain what you mean by that. You like Trump or nah? Do you like Trump? I do. I just want to know your...
You like big man Trump? Yo, big man. You like Trump? Tell me if you like Trump or not. Do you like Trump? Do you like Trump? Yo, big man, do you like Trump? Good one. Good troll. Because he agreed with you. Yeah, but I mean, like, you know how dumb that sounds, right? Like, just because somebody agrees with you doesn't mean that you agree with all the things that they say. Like, if you really wanted to make a criticism there, you could say, isn't it bad that you're agreeing with these people that you don't normally align with, maybe? Like, for instance, I've never said that Hasan is a Nazi, even though he retweeted and spotlighted a fuck ton of Nazi accounts on Twitter because they were making fun of me. But the thing I'll make fun of him for is, like, isn't it kind of weird that you're literally amplifying Nazi accounts just to attack me? But I'm not like, so guys, did you know that Hasan is a Nazi? Like, it just feels, it's stupid. It is what it is, I guess. It's where we're at. Did your fruit fly trap arrive today? Yes, it did. But I haven't seen any of those fuckers flying around. Maybe they all died yesterday, so. Does Hasan not have bigger problems than Destiny at the moment? Asmongold and Tectone are massive and aggressively going after ya boy. I think Asmongold and Tectone are annoying for Hasan to deal with. A little bit because Asmongold is larger, and then just because he'll get unfavorable coverage on LSF. But I represent everything Hasan wishes he could be, okay? Hasan hates the way that he looks. He thinks he's too fat. He's not confident about his appearance, even though, and then he looks at me, a 5'1" beta gnome who's maulding and balding and pushing 50 years old. And he's like, how the fuck can this guy, why doesn't he hate himself like I hate myself? And he's like, I wish I could debate like he can. I hate it. Not to be too conceited, but he is threatened to some extent. Like he really does wish that he could do the hardcore intellectual debates. Like he really does. And you can see it because he'll constantly deride it, you know, and shit all over people that do it when it's involving peripherally me, right? But then when there are other people, right? Asmongold, let's debate. Dude, he was wheeling out all of the excuses to debate Asmongold. And then he did the same thing with Willie Mack. You know, he did the same thing with the 14-year-old Israeli in his chat. Like, if he thinks he can win, all of a sudden debate is like the most important thing ever. So I think Hasan has a special hatred for me. But that's why he fixates on me sometimes, even though technically Asmongold and Tectone represent larger audiences. Is this an actual real movie? Big Money Rustlers. The Good, the Bad, and the Outrageous. Is this a real movie? Oh my god. I just want to watch the trailer. It's free on YouTube? Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. I feel like you won't win the narrative battle against Hasan, but it's a major event that forces him to confront the things you're actually saying in full, which won't happen in the shit timeline we live in. Yeah, this has been an idea that's been bouncing around in my head for like a month or two. I haven't figured it out. It's not really just Hasan. It's really everybody. There needs to be like, not that I would ever advocate for this FBI person he should be done watching me by now. What we need to have, there needs to be like a terrorist attack that happens where some building goes into lockdown and like Bane comes out and he's like, you, and then he throws some dude in a room and he's like, you have to debate or one of you will die for 3 hours or whatever. And like forces people to like, oh my God, like I have to sit here and have this broadcasted to the world 3-hour conversation. Because like, unless there's a threat, it seems like nobody is actually willing to engage critically with the other side anymore. But that's not just Hasan, although that has infected a lot of the streaming world. It's infected the entire media world as well, right? Like conservatives don't really debate. Nobody really debates anybody. I think like Sam Cedar is one of the few people who's probably willing to debate almost anybody. But who, like on the conservative side, nobody will. I don't know anybody besides Sam Cedar on the left side that will. Bro, the virtue signaling, I remember this. Like, the performativity is so fucking cringe. Holy shit. Do you think people are less likely to debate now versus like 2016? For sure. But that's because in 2016, conservatives were the only ones that wanted to debate and liberals didn't want to. So then, of course, Conservatives are like, facts over feelings, we're going to debate and all blah, 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 you know. Him not debating is one problem, but the large problem is Twitch, which operates like an irrational market entity. Keeping people banned and handing over a viewership monopoly doesn't make sense from the perspective of a corporation. It's a company run by employees as a personal project. Agreed, that is true, and it is a problem. But I can't be the one that constantly speaks up about it, because obviously I have the highest personal incentive to point that out. But it is, I mean, like, I feel like any reasonable person can look at the people that have been banned and unbanned and everything else on that website, and then all the collection of statements that have been made at this point, and it's like, who else is even permanently banned from Twitch still? Ice Poseidon must be, right? Is it just me and Ice? I'm sure there are a couple other people, but it's pretty crazy. Especially given how I feel like in retrospect, a lot of my statements are even like tame compared to what flies on that platform now. Although I guess it depends on your political perspective, but the BBB passed. I think we are cooked. I mean, the BBB was always going to pass, I think, right? I don't think they're Republicans have majorities in both houses. It's their spending bill. How the fuck did Bad Bunny get banned? She was edgy with the right politics as well. I don't know, actually. I have no idea why she got... I don't even know if she appealed. I don't know what happened to her. She, like, disappeared. I think she was having... I think she went through some mental... Something happened, I guess. It goes back to the House. Oh, then it didn't pass yet. They're doing like a reconciliation or whatever. Did you see Ice Poseidon threaten suicide? Yeah, I didn't even know he was still with that Kimmy girl. Why were there never any good debate mods? Like they'd block yaps, call out rhetorical tricks, etc. Because the reality is that a really good moderator is probably going to come down on one side more than others. And then people are going to feel like they're biased, and so nobody's going to actually want a moderator. Like, it's just, you know. Destiny, Dean debated you because he didn't want to look like a runner. Maybe you keep calling out people for running. Some of them will eventually be pressured into agreeing. It worked for Ethan with Hasan eventually. It only worked with Ethan and Hasan because Hasan, like, reverse gassed himself up with the whole content cop shit. The reason why it worked with Dean is because Dean's reputation is, I'm a debate bro who will debate anybody. And so if he runs for me, it looks really bad. Hasan is not a debate bro. This is why Hasan explicitly goes out of his way to shit on debate bros, so that he doesn't have that obligation to argue with or debate people. All right, hold on, what is this?
Citizens of Mudbug!
The small... This is 15 years old. How have I never heard of this before?
Town in the wicked Wild West. You people will belong to me forever and always. At the mercy of an evil man.
No, Mr. Chimps, no, 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 no!
Give me my motherfucking money. Desperate for a hero.
Brings you to these parts, stranger?
I ain't no stranger to these parts. I've been gone a long time. But I'm back now. I'm gonna clean this town up. Y'all listen up now, and you listen good. There's a new sheriff in town. And his name is... Sheriff Sugarwolf? And I'm gonna show Big Baby Bitch that Mudbug is now a town under the rule of law. Fuck you, Sugarwolf. If he thinks he's coming between me... Mudbug. Go.
Okay, I was wondering if this would be like so bad it's good, but I feel like this is just like bad, not... I don't know if this would even be so bad. I feel like it would just be shit. Like, not in an entertaining way. That's probably why I never heard of it, huh? It's bad. Okay. Well. What?
I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If we have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, you know? So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
When he says Peter, who is he talking about? He doesn't mean Peter Thiel, does he? He does? Peter, oh, Navarro, oh, maybe. Damn, dude. Where is it? Where is it? Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, Twitter. Where is it? What am I looking for? Mark Cuban was the one who tweeted out, listen, Elon, you might think you're high right now, but Trump will use you, and then Trump will discard you and backstab you like every other person. Fuck, what was this? It was Mark Cuban that tweeted this, wasn't it? Oh, sorry. What? Elon, there will come a time when you need something from Donald Trump. You will think you will have earned the right to ask and receive. You have been loyal. You have been a loyal, faithful soldier for him. You've supported him politically with tens of millions of dollars. Now, he's wrong there. Technically, Elon probably lost tens of billions of dollars. Or more, maybe. I don't know how much SpaceX has appreciated. Then, at the point you need him the most, you will find out what so many before you have learned. His loyalty is only to himself. Rip. It's funny how accelerated the timelines are on all the political stuff, too. Like, it used to be that if you made a political prediction, you might have to wait years for it to come true. With Trump, it's like always within a year. Sometimes months. Sometimes weeks. Sometimes days. Did he delete that tweet? He might have deleted his whole account. He might just be on Blue Sky. Oh, just kidding. I wonder why that tweet's gone. Do you think that Elon is doing this to see/prove how much political traction he has? No. I don't know how to communicate this more clearly. Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I'm not just saying this to be hyperbolic or salty or mean. They're just not intelligent people. They're not very smart, at the very least when it comes to politics or when it comes to socialization or people. They're not intelligent political masterminds. They don't have any grand plans. There is no fucking scheme, okay? These are the prime and perfect example. Elon Musk and Donald Trump represent exactly what men 5 years ago told us women would be like if they were the ones that were leading the world politically. They are exclusively driven by their emotions from day to day with no grand plan and with no capacity to dispassionately engage with the world and the people around them. They are manipulated by flattery, by simps, and their opinion can be turned from talking to one strong man or another. And that's exactly how we see them. When Trump comes out of a meeting with somebody and he's echoing everything Netanyahu believes, then now he's echoing everything NATO wants him to believe, the Rude guy, tells him that these are exactly Elon and Trump, or when Trump is talking about South Africa, which we're never going to hear about again, by the way. These guys are exactly what men have told us for years that women would be like if they were in political office. They're driven exactly like you would expect a narcissistic, dipshit woman to be. Oh, hi, what's up?
Hey, I just hopped on to let everybody know that the 18th edition of the Pragmatic Papers is out.
Damn.
We'd love for down. Yeah, I know. We're fucking freshly 18.
Wait, do you guys do one per week?
Yeah, that's how we've been doing it.
18 weeks is like 4 months?
Yeah, that's how long I've been coming on here and bugging you.
Jesus.
There's some good stuff out. There's one called Unclean Hands, Unchecked Power, Supreme Court Gaslights Third Country Deportations by Menu False. Some might know him as Robbie. He's debated you before and did quite well. That one was really good. It goes over the Supreme Court decision, the unsigned Supreme Court decision to allow for the government to deport people to nations that they're not originally from. In this case, specifically South Sudan, which is
okay.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but I know about the civil war that's been going on for a while in Sudan and South Sudan and things like that, and it seems like a bad place to be deported to. There's another good one by Miss Agent M. She's super solid. It's Unlawful Assemblies and Unfinished Arguments. I think this is a really good kind of like 50,000 foot view of the ideas behind protesting, the protests that happened in Los Angeles and kind of where we're at. She always does a really cool left-right perspective of the reporting around this stuff, and then kind of saying like, here's what this side is seeing, here's what the other side is seeing. And I really liked this article just because I feel like there was a lot of news about this and then it dropped off, and I feel like she does a good job of like coming back in and saying, hey, let's kind of do a bit of a retrospective and kind of a good understanding. And then the last one is that I wanted to promote was the one by Demosthenes Rex. He has a good one called Aid Under Fire, The Collapse of Humanitarian Credibility in Gaza. I think he does a good job in here of discussing kind of the issues around the aid being provided out in Gaza. It discusses some of the shootings and stuff that have happened around the aid distribution in Gaza without being like too far on one side or the other. And it kind of just talks about like the inherent problems with trying to distribute aid in the conflict as it's ongoing, and why we don't want to do it the way that they're doing it without, calling people genocidal, horrible people, or things like that. I really liked it. It's a long read, but I think it's a good perspective on the whole situation.
Okay.
So I'd love it if everybody come over, do a good read of the stuff we got in there. There's other stuff I didn't mention, but yeah, we are rapidly approaching some new cool stuff for the community. Emails, RSS, new websites, stuff like that. So hopefully soon we'll be able to share that.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, hey, I appreciate you watching the debate I had with Pisco and giving some feedback. You have a good perspective that would probably be hard for me to get to on my own. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I'll say, you heard me shouting about this a lot in chat last night. I think that we do this reflexively. And I think that maybe, and it might even be a reflex to people who debate in bad faith, or just because we're trying to preempt arguments. Sometimes when people give hypotheticals, you saw this, right? Like, it's okay to bite the bullet on a hypothetical if you're confident in your argument. I notice that sometimes people will head them off because they feel like they're not completely analogous to the current situation. But I think it's a better tactic to bite the bullet on the hypothetical, and then when they try to make it analogous, point out the disanalogy, right?
I think you're right. I don't think that I don't have the only thing I would say in response to that is that as an attorney, you're taught very strictly that if you have the facts and the law on your side, don't talk about hypotheticals.
Sure.
Right. Like the whole time Pisco was pounding the table. It was like anytime I tried to talk about the law with him, he made a whole bunch of noise to get away from it. Anytime I challenged him to correct me on the facts, he never did. And so in those situations, I agree. Looking back and watching it, I totally understand where you're coming from. But in the moment, it's just no, I don't need to. I'm not going to give you any space. Make your argument or walk away. I'm not going to let you try to compare this to racism and things like that because I don't need you. I don't need it for my argument, and I don't need it to understand your argument.
Sure.
I'll let you.
Although the reason why I think it's okay to do that though is because sometimes through exploring those hypotheticals, sometimes if you can identify the disanalogous part of his hypothetical to the real world thing, you actually can razor focus, hone in on what exactly the disagreement is, right?
I think that's fair.
I'm trying to think of, let's say I murder my parents. Okay. And the reason why is because like I want to go outside and they gave me a curfew. Okay. And then let's say that I'm debating with a friend and you're like, well, I don't think you should have killed your parents. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's say that you have a mom and dad that like group molest you every single night. Do you think it'd be okay to murder them? I think that for you and a lot of people, the intuition is, hold on. No. That's not a fair comparison, whatever, right? That's the intuition is to jump there. But I think it's better to just immediately say, in that case, I think it might be understandable. Maybe not the first time, but then it might be understandable. And then let that person say, okay, well, if you think it's okay to kill parents that are molesting you, what's the difference between, why can't I kill my parents then? And it's like, okay, well, now we see, okay, well, do you think that molesting somebody is the same as or equivalent to putting a curfew on somebody, right? And then you can kind of like hone in on that there, like what's the severity of that, rather than trying to preempt them, bringing it back to the original argument, because then everything kind of gets clusterfucked.
Yeah, I think that's good feedback. I would say one thing that maybe kind of had my back up a little bit in there too was that I've noticed that Pisco likes to use legal terms and concepts and arguments with non-lawyers, and he kind of uses that to control the argument a lot, because like, this is how it works, this is how it works, this is how it works.
Sure.
And then, so then whenever I show up and I go, okay, well, let's talk about the standard that we're going to actually have to deal with, he backs away from it, won't talk about it, things like that. And so for me, like, I can, whenever he uses those legal terms at me, right, whenever he starts going into like an analysis of like racial discrimination and things like that, it's like, if I was in a court case and I was reading a filing that started talking about that, I would know that I've won this entire case, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. Why are you wasting my time?
Sure.
Which I'm not in.
Yeah,
so it's like
the
it's fair that
conflation of those terms, you got to be really careful about. They tried to get me with that in my when they were cross-examining me for my hearing that hopefully I get the transcript to sometime pretty soon, hopefully, where the guy asked me, he was like, aren't there other claims against you by other people or whatever? And it's like, or complaints. I think he used the word complaints or whatever. And I was like, excuse me, no, there's a singular complaint filed right now. You're a lawyer asking me about a complaint. I'm not just going to agree to that phrasing because this is a legal term and we're doing testimony in court. The fast and loose between the legal and unlegal stuff, I don't think it matters as long as you agree or understand what the boundaries are of the conversation. But when people want to change up to where they're kind of using language colloquially, but then they want to like crucify you on an imprecise use of a legal term, is very annoying, I think. Yeah,
and as an attorney, I've been mentored and taught very strongly that like, when you're an attorney, your words matter. You can be sued for the things you say out loud. So precision in language is important. And whenever I see someone else, attorney or not, being imprecise, I default to being as precise as possible, which can also come across that way. I will say, and like, I totally understand why you crashed out on it, because it's not that interesting of a debate, I don't think, anyways. But by the time you got like, there's parts later on that you didn't get to where like, for me, I was ultimately looking for specific concessions, and I did get those at certain points, right? Like I was like, you admit that Hasan is motivated to tell this story so that there's viewpoint discrimination, right? You admit, and he's like, yeah, I admit that, and we get to a point where it was there, he admits there's no evidence supporting his, and while I don't have any evidence supporting mine, I don't see why his is more likely, right? And so we kind of got to that point, which was where I was going with it.
Have you studied or read a lot of case law on First Amendment related stuff?
No, but I have specific case law discussing GE revocation, and I know exactly what the standard is, and I know all that stuff, and I was ready to discuss it, and I tried to bring it up like twice, and he would just back away, and he starts putting guns to my head.
Gotcha. Okay, because that's like a whole area of law or interpretation I'm totally ignorant of. So I don't know. Were you watching me when I was watching the oral arguments on the porn ban?
I caught a little bit of that.
So like a lot of the questions like from one of the Supreme Court guys was like, what would you estimate is the percentage of like obscene material hosted on Pornhub? And the guy's like, I don't know, 10% or maybe, or he didn't want to guess or whatever. Do you understand the significance of that question?
Well, they were trying to I understand the difference between like rational basis, intermediate, and strict scrutiny.
Or sure, not even. Or wait, go ahead.
Is that what you're getting at? I was gonna say, I understand the difference between those three and trying to determine which level of scrutiny you want to use when evaluating a case is almost paramount.
Sure, that's important. But for First Amendment stuff, I had no idea because I was like going through this and I was like, this is so stupid. Why are they? What is the percentage of obscene material? But in a First Amendment context, obscene stuff has no First Amendment protection. Period. You can censor or ban that in any way you want, and that will never.
I'm sorry, I see what you're saying. Yes.
So, but that's like a word that I have no fucking idea, right? So there's like this whole branch, or like I just saw this last night, and I read this off of like a legal blog thing, like very quickly. So I could be totally wrong, but there is a difference between supposedly like viewpoint viewpoint discrimination, which I'm fairly familiar with. I think I've heard 2 different Supreme Court cases now where viewpoint discrimination has come up a lot. But then there's also content discrimination. And it sounds like the thing that Pisco is doing, I say this very hesitant or cautiously, it sounds like Pisco is confusing content discrimination with viewpoint discrimination. For instance, if it was the case that saying, if you want free healthcare, kill Rick Scott, it sounds like Pisco saying that was a viewpoint discrimination. But for that to be viewpoint discrimination, then Hasan would have had his global entry revoked, not because he said to kill Rick Scott or because he made that, joke or reference or whatever, but because he said Rick Scott. But if it was the fact that every single person who made a joke about that, regardless of what side of the aisle the politician was on, had their global entry revoked, that wouldn't actually be viewpoint discrimination. That'd be content discrimination. Content like that is not protected in the same way where viewpoint discrimination is almost always going to be seen as a huge infringement on your First Amendment rights. And this is ignoring the fact that we're just talking about expedited screening, not, any kind of constitutionally guaranteed thing as well. But yeah.
Well, and we actually got into what you just discussed a little bit. He was being so fast and loose with the legal standards that I just abandoned that line of discussion and just kind of started challenging his phrasing of things. But like I said, I think at one point I said, I think it's totally reasonable to think that the FBI could have gotten a phone call from somebody that said, this person just made a threat on a politician. They went and looked at Hasan's file, went through his GE stuff and revoke it. I think that's a totally logical one that you could do without any question about a viewpoint or even content. And afterwards, people told me that the Houthis were made a terrorist organization or something
on March 4th.
And then that he was revoked the next day, which I don't know how there's a viewpoint issue here where it's like he just was associated with the Houthis such that they didn't want to give him one or something like that. Like, and that was kind of a thing I said at the very beginning where I was talking about pretext, where it's like, it literally doesn't matter if you can make the viewpoint argument. If they can make an argument that isn't viewpoint and it's a legitimate reason by itself to revoke GE, that's all they need. They don't need more than that.
Yeah, and it was also strange.
Off into this moral shit.
Yeah, I don't know if this came up or if you brought this up or you managed to get back to this, but every single time he had an example and you had an example and you guys were going back and forth, every single example that he was bringing up and you were bringing up, all of them were highly publicly pretextualized.
Yeah.
None of this was ever denied. All of it was out in the open, and sometimes it was like explicitly politically partisan, right? Like the Chris Krebs stuff. Like, this motherfucker is called out in an executive order, right? None of this is secretive at all.
Yeah, I did mention that it was public, and then I said it once or twice where he was like, these American citizens, like there's one American citizen and it was in an executive order, and he was trying to equivocate about, or maybe that's not the right word. About how these big law firms are being targeted in these ways. And it's like, well, no, that's really not how that wouldn't have anything, like the citizenship in that is irrelevant. They're targeting a business, and they're saying an association with this business is such that we can remove your clearances or GEs, which they totally could. If a company in America was found to be harboring terrorists and doing like an enemy of the state, and then you're an employee of that company, they totally have the right to take away your GE status because they're like, we don't know what the fuck your involvement was with that stuff, right?
Sure. And keep in mind, like, they don't even have to prove it. They could just investigate it, right? Like, I think in the GE revocation, it literally says if you're under investigation. And, what is... wait, is there any standard? You don't need like probable cause even for an investigation, right? I don't even know if you need reasonable suspicion for an investigation.
We fought heavily about that. We fought heavily about investigation. Yeah, he at one point was like, if someone called the FBI, because I said, what if someone called the FBI and said he made a threat on a politician, so they investigate him? He's like, that's still viewpoint discrimination. And I said, I think that's crazy. Yes, and he goes, well, but this is his counter like hypothetical that, and I tried to actually work with him on it. He goes, what if someone called the FBI and reported that someone was black, and then the FBI started an investigation on that person? And I sound very weaselly in my responses, but I just essentially was saying like, you're basically saying nonsense right now, because I was like, an investigation into what? And they're like, he just goes, just that they're black. And I was
that's
like,
not a crime.
Is there a crime? Yeah, well. And that's what I was kind of saying.
Could you articulate any reason why that person would be? Yeah, like this. You can't even articulate a threat or whatever there. Yeah.
And then he goes, well, is that constitutional or not? No matter what, is it? And I'm like, I can't articulate a constitutional right that's being violated. I don't know how I could bring a cause of action that say, I'm upset that you investigated me because I was black, but there's no other thing that happens. Because also, if the FBI looks into a person, just looks at all the public information and internal government documents of a person, no matter the reason, I don't understand how there's a violation of a person's rights.
Of course there's not.
It's such that Yeah, and so like he got really mad, and then he finally augmented his hypothetical to say, well, what if there was a policy to investigate black people? I'm like, yes, a policy, yes, because the policy belies intent, and you can't have that kind of intent.
Yeah, and the policy itself would be, wouldn't that be violative of equal protections?
Exactly, and that's what I was kind of. That's where like when I fought with him on the hypothetical, that's kind of also why I do fight a lot on the hypotheticals, because it's like, let's use precise language. We have all the time in the world. There's no reason why you can't just make this a more precise hypothetical so that like I can make sure that I understand what you're asking me.
Sure.
And he got on to me early on about that. And I was like, yes, I'm torturing it because I want you to be more precise. That's it. Not because I think you're wrong.
Sure. I think it's good though for audience optics and everything to just own the hypothetical and then point out the disanalogy when he tries to connect it. I think that would be better. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with a lawyer friend in Discord about this, where I was like, the hard part about it is it's like I'm very used to not caring about a third party audience. It's like me it's like if I was like to say like, okay, I'm writing this closing argument to convince the jury, but also I want everybody in the gallery to like it too. And it's like, if you do that, you are inherently going to make your closing argument weaker, which like that's like anathema to me, right? Like I do not ever want to do that. But obviously I'm not in that scenario, so I need to like flex those muscles and do better at that part. So,
sure.
No, but I do appreciate the feedback on it.
Yeah. I think there's also some things you can fight a little bit harder on it, because he's signaling to the audience when he's like laughing and smirking. This was probably the most frustrating. This is what I got the most upset at, is when you brought up, Pisco asked, this is an unbelievable question. Pisco was like, do you think it's appropriate to ask somebody about their job? And then you were like, yeah, it's a basic thing. And he like laughed like that was so ridiculous.
Lena
actually sent me a message last night, and from Canada. Anytime she visits, it's like she says, "LOL, I just opened your stream. When I would visit you, they pressed hard about my income and job. Questioned me about they questioned me about you a ton, how we met, how long we've been dating, what you do for work, etc., etc. And I'm pretty sure they asked me to pull up your channel at one point. They go really hard, LOL. And then they sent me to the extra questioning place twice. This happened to Melina as well. Like you get asked a whole bunch of fairly invasive feeling questions when you're coming into the United States or coming back to the United States, sometimes as a citizen. It's happened to me once or twice, once really. So yeah, like for him to laugh off, like, well, why would they have to care about your job? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. That was wild.
I saw you not appreciate him laughing at me. I appreciate you defending me like that. To the
I wasn't
public,
defending you. It was just a silly fucking laugh. But no, yeah, there was yeah.
But no, one of the things that was I like why I did hold back in that part of not kind of going off on him there, though I did get a little heated, is that one, I agree with you that there's some level of like not traveling internationally, not being familiar with this. And two, I was using the word profile and profiling, which is legitimate and people use it and should use it at airports and ports of entry like that. But a lot of people like are brain broken around that word profiling, and they think that like profiling is just inherently bad. And I did not want to get into that argument. I was trying to avoid very hard to keep him away from arguing about that profiling thing. So I didn't want to focus too much on like the concept of profiling, just on the actual implementation of it here. Because that was the same reason why like I didn't really want to fight about the facts of it, right? It's like I don't have a good understanding of the facts enough to fight about it.
Sure. And then also something that you have to fixate. Something you have to fixate on a lot is that we are talking about, the only thing we're talking about is expedited entry into the United States, expedited bypassing security screening stuff. We're not talking about being no-fly listed. We're not talking about like stop and frisk. We're not talking about refusal to admit you onto public grounds or into a college or like some arrest warrant. Like we're just talking about access to an expedited security that thing. That's it, right?
No, and yeah, what was it? That and but then whenever I would do that, I've seen him do this in a different one, and so one reason I avoided it is because then he goes, well, what about driver's license? What about this? What about that? And he like starts talking about all these things that like I don't mind biting the bullet on, but ultimately it gets us back to just the legal standard, which then he's just going to get all bitchy about.
Sure.
So
driver's licenses are weirder though, because one, you like there's a much greater interest on the side of the citizen, I think, having a driver's license. However, driver's licenses are also done like state by state, so I don't even know how much that meaningfully changes things. But also
Via the
losing your driver's license is more akin to being no-fly listed than it is to losing like expedited security screening. Like a better, this is why you should bite the bullet on hypotheticals and then ask another one in return. You say, what if they said that if you're being investigated for a crime or if you like tweet out a threat to a politician, what if they say you're no longer allowed to renew your driver's license online, but you have to go into the DMV to do it? Would that be discriminatory? I think Peace Corps would say yes, and then you could fight on the absurdity of that. But that would be a more apt comparison, I think.
And like, I have no problem biting the bullet on all that, but like, again, that's all like just going far afield to shit where it's like it's just expanding it more than I really wanted to. And like, I was already having to try to keep him on the rails so hard. Like, he accused me like more than once of being like Hasan derangement syndrome, and it's like, and I'm like, I don't know this guy. Like, I don't care about Hasan. Like, I'm not even here to talk to you about that. I don't care. And so yeah, but you know, yeah, no, I appreciate it. I might go on some other people's streams and do stuff now. Feeling more confident, so we'll see. Maybe there'll be more content for you in the future.
Yeah, all right. Be careful. Stay safe.
All right, love you.
Bye.
President and Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app.
What is happening that this is all the worst fucking audio that I've ever heard in my entire life? Why do you guys keep linking me this shit? What is even happening here?
Mr. President and Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. That's obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them.
Okay. Tom Homan was saying perhaps CNN should be prosecuted. Your thoughts? We're working with the DOJ to see if we can prosecute them for that. We're going to actually go after them. They may be prosecuted also for false reports on the attack on Iran. Good one. Reset the plugin. Oh, wait.
That lets you track
law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with a partnership of families.
It's a little better. But did they finish power washing your building? Shut the fuck up. Okay? They finished. It's done. It's done! Also, they're far away. Aren't there literally specialized shotgun mics? Oh my god, I bought a couple of these. And they didn't work out at all. I didn't buy this one. Is it? It's not that. What is this Sony mic I'm thinking of? Sony. Is it a shotgun mic? Is that what I'm thinking of, or is it called something different? Wait, why am I saying Sony? No, it's like, it's, wait, is it Sony? No, it's Shure. No, it's Sennheiser. I'm losing my fucking mind. It's like an MK8. Oh, yeah, this shit. One of these is like $2,000. But I bought two really nice ones. I don't remember which ones I got, but they don't work at all for my. But I think it's because they're. I don't think you're supposed to use the ones I bought inside, because what happens is they pick up echoes from the walls hardcore, so it's not good. Which ones did I get? Because I was worried when we did the big election stream that it would be too much and we wouldn't pick up audio well, and I'd have to pick it up from the cameras. But it ended up just using the lav mics were fine. Wait, what the fuck? Which mics did I get? B and H. You're thinking of the Rode? I don't know if I'm in it. Why do you think Amazon hasn't looked into Twitch management yet? Any other Amazon subsidiary acting like them would have had its leadership scalped a long time ago? I don't know. There's a line that I said because I had seen it said before and I just repeated it without thinking, because I don't know actually. When Twitch was first acquired by Amazon, there were a lot of people that were worried, but the talk that I heard and saw a lot was that when Amazon acquires companies, Amazon is actually fairly hands-off. Like, they buy the company, but they tend to keep all the leadership structure and everything in place, and they kind of let them do their own shit. That it's pretty rare for Amazon to acquire a company and then step in and be like very heavy-handed about it. I don't know how true that is, but... Amazon is small as fuck and probably doesn't generate much revenue, so they don't give a fuck. Oof. Brutal misspeak. Don't you mean... You mean Twitch compared to Amazon. Yikes. Yikes. Oof, fam. Everybody's cringing at you. Everybody is cringing. Everybody is cringing. What the fuck are these microphones that I ordered? What the fuck? Sennheiser. Sorry, we couldn't find any matches. Okay, microphone. No matches. I didn't order it on B&H. I didn't order it on Amazon. What other website could I have possibly ordered it on? Okay, maybe it was Amazon under Shotgun. No. Boom. No. Mike? No. Fuck, what the fuck? What was the name of these microphones that I ordered? I need to when your court shit will get updates. I feel like it's really slow. Yeah, welcome to court. Hopefully this week. I said before last week that like I think all of the current motions before the court have been fully briefed. We're just waiting for a bunch of rulings now. So hopefully this week or the next week. Well, but hopefully this week we get a bunch of rulings. Best shotgun microphones. What happened to the transcript? That's one of the rulings we're waiting on. If I just see it, I'll know what it was. Has Destiny seen the Odyssey teaser yet? It contains its #1 complaint about Oppenheimer. Wait, do you guys remember the epic line when they were talking about the atmosphere being set on fire? Holy shit, it reminded me of my favorite Reddit comment ever. Why would you not order audio gear on Sweetwater? Oh fuck, maybe I ordered it there. I usually order on B&H photo. Oh no, wait, that's where I order my camera and lighting stuff. Maybe I did order on this website. Hold on. Log in. I don't actually even know if I have a fucking account on this website. God damn it. No, I don't. Are you still considering moving away from covering political content? I don't think I would ever move away from covering political content. I would just retire. Fuck that. Search your email for a receipt? I don't remember what it was called. So I don't even know what to look for. Do you still enjoy Miami, or has the novelty worn off as a city? I never enjoyed Miami. It didn't even have novelty for me. Okay, whatever. I don't remember what they were called. They were silver shotgun mics. I want to say they cost... It was anywhere from $500 to $1,000 each. And they were like silvery, brassy colored. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they were called. Whatever. How much shit do you order for it to not be in your recent emails? I order a ton of shit. Also, this was like... I ordered this before the election stream, so this was like about maybe a year ago. Wouldn't you ever receive your email? Yeah, but what do I search for? What do you want me to search for? Do I have to email you with stuff related to Pragmatic Papers? Email contact@destiny.gg or email or figure out how to contact Kafka. B&H can be crazy overpriced compared to the competition. Really? Compared to who? Search for Sennheiser? I don't think they were Sennheisers though. I think it was another brand that I haven't heard of. I don't think. Rode NTG3. Oh, I bet they were Rode mics actually. Oh shit, it might have been these. Wow. Wait, who the fuck are you? Tape head radio. I think it was 2 of these. Or if it wasn't this, it was something that looks like this. No, wait. I don't think it was this one, but I think it was something that looks like this one. So it might have been a Rode something. But anyway, they sucked. Well, I shouldn't say they sucked, but they didn't work very well indoors because I think they pick up reflections, a lot of sound. Echoes or whatever you would call it. Do you think Iraq war needs researching now that JQ stuff and Israel conspiracies are getting popular? It seems like a big knowledge gap for a political commentator. I don't even know what you would research about it. Most of the claims that people make are pretty easy to dismiss, or they're very unserious. But I mean, I guess it depends on how deep somebody wants to go. Hey, what's up?
Hello, hello. Do you have a little time or super busy?
I got a little bit of time. What's going on?
Yeah, just, regular stuff. Trump lifting sanctions from Russia, especially from banks of Putin's closest buddies.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yep, I saw it. Pretty stupid, yeah.
Predictable. Predictable. But also, I almost, it's so stupid, but I'm almost like giddy because I'm like, told you so, Like, it's stupid because it harms my country, obviously, in a very significant way. But I just feel like I have been so fucking gaslighted by a fuck ton of like pro-Ukraine people who voted for Trump and who were like saying like, Ukrainian, you just barbarian, simple-minded people. You just don't understand for the chess game that Trump plays, and he will be strong and Biden was weak and he will be so much better for Ukraine. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to vote like for Ukraine, obviously, right? It's strange for that be your main voting thing, right? If you want to vote for Trump for other reasons, then fucking go for it. But the cope, like the gaslighting, was so weird. And they're still doing it, some of them. They're like still coping.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a guy thing, or I'm sure there's like an equivalent with women, but there's something... wait, what?
You said guy thing?
Like a
Sorry,
guy
the
thing.
connection.
Yeah,
is
like
not...
a male man thing. There are certain things that like men can do where I feel like if you're a confident person and you see the guy, it reeks of a lack of confidence. Like one of the funniest examples I'd have is when I would go to some of these shows, there were people that would fly in, like red pill guys that would fly in, and these guys are not rich, but they would rent Lamborghinis just to drive to the show area to do the show, and then they would drive back there.
I know the guy, yeah.
And like when
I know the type, yeah.
When I'm looking at stuff like this, I'm like, but there are legitimately some people who like see him show up in a Lambo and they're like, damn, that's like awesome, dude. Oh shit. But like I'm looking, I'm like, bro, why? This is so cringe, and it's like so obviously reeks of insecurity. I don't know how you like communicate that to somebody. It feels like you either understand that or you don't. I think with Donald Trump, I think a lot of his stuff is very similar to that, where it's so cringe. So many Trump supporters will say like, you don't understand. The whole world sees Donald Trump as a strong leader, and that's why Putin's gonna fuck off, and all these people are gonna stop. And it's like, bro, nobody sees Trump as a strong leader. He is the weakest man. Like Putin and Assad. These people are more scared of Hillary Clinton. Okay, and I don't even mean that like Hillary was weak or anything, but I'm saying like none of these people are scared of Donald Trump. Like nobody is scared of him. He's the most easily manipulatable, like childlike, naive dipshit in the universe.
Yes, it's so funny, especially when they say about Russia, because obviously I speak Russian, so I saw what they were saying during the elections and when it was happening. Everyone was so giddy. So fucking giddy. It was disgusting, to see them so happy that they won. But not only because they were like, oh yeah, now that's a man of quality. No, because they were like, oh, this fucking weak ass schmuck that we can manipulate how we want.
Yeah.
And it's good for us.
And it feels stupid to even have the argument because it's so obvious. And like, you saw it, right? I think we were dealing when Trump tweeted out or truthed out when he was like, I can't believe this. I think Putin, was being dishonest. And I'm like, oh my God, kill me, dude. Are you serious right now? Like, wow,
Yeah,
people
we
lied
talked
to you?
about
No
this.
way, dude. That's crazy. That's horrible, man. Yeah, it was so cringe.
It's so sad, honestly. This is the first time I ever feel something of something like approaching sympathy towards him, because I'm like, oh, this is actually retarded. You know, I was like kind of holding out the hope that he was maybe like playing for the chess game. I'm just genuinely a barbarian Ukrainian that doesn't understand it. So there is a possibility, right? Like a low percentage, but it exists.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, you know this PewDiePie meme when he's like, oh, you're retarded. Oh, that's basically me.
We've all been doing that
think
for
about it.
for the past 9 years, ever since he was elected in 2016. Yeah, I was on that train for like 6 months
Yes,
when he got
but I was-
elected the first time. I was like, oh shit, maybe he does know what's going on. Maybe he's gonna flip a switch and he's gonna be like the big bad
Yes, that's
president.
me now.
Yeah, well, that switch would have
That
been
was
flipped
me.
a long time ago. So yeah.
Mostly because I was just, I'm seeing with my own two eyes, obviously, before, like, and I hear things he says before even he was elected, like, for example, simple things, right? You never name the aggressor. You never, ever point out who actually fucking attacked. You always talk about peace and never elaborate what kind of peace it will be, what kind of steps will be taken. Like, you never really, people ask you, like, what levers, like, you have on Russia, and you're like, he didn't respect Biden. He respects me. And you're like, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
As a person from a country full of like, blustering oligarch, lying, corrupt cunts. Now it's a bit better, but post-Soviet bane basically of that. I recognize this, okay? I recognize this.
Yeah.
And I was like, you will not fool me, okay? I see what that is. But people like were gaslighting hardcore, like on Twitter, like online. So like even people who like genuinely were like supporting Ukraine for a while. So it's not like, just a message or two, but a genuine support. They, for example, they fundraise as well and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, he will be strong. He gave you javelins. And you're like, bro, 25.
Yeah.
Year 25. Like, why are we talking about fucking javelins? Yeah, it's a bit because Trump says that. That's why they stop. They just repeat shit he says, basically, like gospel. Because he's like, Obama gave them sheets.
Yeah.
The
blankets,
and they gave them javelins. And you're like, oh my god, how many times do we need to say this? I'm just, this honestly just annoyed. It just blows my mind that he repeats the exact same thing like 100 fucking times, and nobody's like bothered, it seems, on his side, because I feel like I have dementia.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
when
actually, no, wait. There was
to it.
one person, and he hated it, and I love this guy. Okay, if I left these continents, I would go to fucking France. When Macron corrected him, that was fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, he did it with like a French flair, which I appreciate. With the French.
He put
with
his
the
hand
French
on his knee
hand.
and everything. Yeah, he was like, "Excuse me." He was like, "Excuse me, that's not true."
That was hot. That
Oh
was
my
hot.
god, I
okay?
loved it.
Yeah, you know how you sometimes I saw you like you wait for them to bring up Iraq or something like that, and you say, "I'm gonna come." That bit that you do. And that was me when Macron did that. Anyway, I like that bit, by the way.
Yeah, Iraq. Everything is Iraq. Everything is Iraq. One thing I wish that we'd studied more as Americans, and I think we studied it like technically, and we do, but we don't think. Yeah, true, but we don't think enough about this. Like, Americans view themselves as being like a pretty good guy in World War I, and as like the super good guys in World War II. One thing that we don't fixate enough on American history is we really do wait until the last possible minute to get involved in these conflicts. Like, had they not, sunk ships in World War I, or had Pearl Harbor not happened in World War II, like, we might have actually just sat back and chilled until the entire fucking continent of Europe was owned by Germany, maybe, And I wish we would fixate on that a little more. Like, can't we be a little bit more proactive sometimes? I don't know.
Well, you're on a full on like everything you ever did is bad, basically. You're now actually on a band that maybe even World War II was bad because you didn't actually involve yourself to save the Jews, but to like enrich yourself. I heard someone say that, Dave Smith or someone, like basically speculating that it wasn't that great because you also bombed Japan and all that. So you're like backtracking even to that, even to not being good guys for intervening in World War II altogether. So the Churchill, the biggest, all that shit about the I just remember Churchill being the actual baddie in World War II. All that narrativization is like popping off.
The Daryl Cooper
Which
shit.
is standard Nazi. Yeah, standard Nazi crap, but it's kind of like repackaged a little bit to be, I don't know, more fun, I guess, for the new generation in the United States. So yeah, I saw your TikTok thing though, and I was like, this must be a bit. They must be like trolling. There just ain't no fucking way this is real. When you pointed out the article about the train attack that I mentioned to you, and he's like, that's opinion.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you're just gonna trust Google?" And it's like, "I'm not trusting. It's a Politico. Like, what the fuck is this question even?" Right? Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's a report. It's just what you pointed out. I looked it up afterwards. It was a report basically on the attack, like providing, how many victims, where it happened, what kind of like a missile was used. For actually ballistics was used that day. So it's just basically they're not even saying any opinion on the matter. Like they're not calling it like even anything like a war crime or anything. And it's just over it is obviously, but they're not even that. They're just like this happened. And he's like, no, they have peace over there. Never mind 60% escalation that we're having now, but that's a whole other situation.
I think in the future, if the world survives whatever the next few years is, everybody needs to like have American friends that just go out with them and are in all the dangerous spots of the world, so that if anybody invades or does anything, Americans start getting killed, and then maybe our country will care a little bit more. Who knows?
Oh, I know. I have some weird fantasies about that, actually, about taking some particular people to like on a day or two, like to like a front line. Not even front line, actually. I would not be that mean. Just taking them to like a city that is regularly bombed, and to just have them here like for like a day or two, and then send them back, and maybe that will improve all of it. Improve the entire person altogether, because sometimes it's just unbearable. It's just so, I don't want to like shit on people too much, obviously, but because I have like a lot of American people who are my friends now, who came here and who I respect highly, and all of that, obviously, who help out a lot, obviously, right? But at the same time, like there's these people who are like a very, I don't know, people who I would say are like one of the best people I ever met, without any exaggeration. Right? But there was also all of that, like the unbombed, okay? When they speak, the unbombed, I always get like, I need this, we actually tried to came up with a
repeat that again. When they speak,
When they speak, they basically just, it's just, the most out of touch, ridiculous stuff, lecturing people who actually lived.
I was trying to, what was the word? I'm trying to think of the word you used. Unbombed, or was that the word you used?
Unbombed. It's how it.
Oh.
There's a lot of memes. The unbombed is speaking like silence Ukrainian, like the unbombed.
Oh, never mind. I understand. I understand the word. I'm sorry. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I get you. What you mean.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's called UBIS, unbombed, because it's just we need a slur. Okay, there doesn't need to be a slur for these people, because it's just. And I will not. And I will say, okay, it's not a hot take that most people who do it are indeed American, or at least some sort of Westerner.
I mean, it's our greatest strength, and it's our greatest, I guess, like folly to some extent, is that we're so insulated from everything going on overseas that, Yeah, which I mean, understandable and kind of jealous, honestly, but at the same time, it's like large microphones, right? And a lot of like some sort of, I don't know, there's just something about this like American idea that you can speak so confidently about things fuck all about. It's just no embarrassment whatsoever. Yeah.
And it's just kind of inspiring, but also extremely annoying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like in awe and want to vomit at the same time. So it's like a kind of weird feeling, I will say. But TikTok is, I will not be watching that thing again, because it's extra unbearable. It's worse than the ones I saw you do on like YouTube and things like that. It's like next level degens. Yeah. I just cannot. I only shout out to that one drunk lady. She was cool. And the rest can fuck off, honestly. And also there was like this sanction thing. I was like kind of, everyone kind of expected it. I just it's disgusting to be so right, because I was like, Trump will try to like pressure us into capitulation. It won't work. Then he will not do anything to Russia because he's Putin's bitch, basically. and entirely weak and stupid to be in any shape to do any real diplomacy with countries like Russia. And then he will likely say it's all our fault, mostly blame Ukraine, which he did. That was my exact prediction when he was elected. And then I was like, then he likely will just cut off aid, call it a day, fuck off, and maybe remove sanctions from Russia for good measure. And kind of exactly what's happening. So, well,
pretty annoying.
Yeah, they did a breakthrough, Russians, on the Dnipro region, so that's not good. Don't know how that will go because aid is like hella stale, and Europe will maybe do something in the next year. We're lucky with their tempo. So I'm not like, particularly happy right now.
When it comes to like the stock market, when it comes to trade, when it comes to diplomacy and foreign affairs, I still feel like the whole world is still kind of in a state of shock. Like nobody really believes that the United States is what it is right now. And so nobody's, and like I'm saying this like without, I'm not in Europe, but the feeling just from like watching and the lack of updates is I feel like Europe is still collectively like, okay, tomorrow we're going to get the phone call from DC and America is going to be like, okay, we were drunk for a little bit, but like, let's figure this shit out. Let's get back together. Like, I still don't feel like Europe is fully ready to be like, okay, America has abdicated her position on this part of the world. And now it's just us and we're going to figure our shit out on our own. Like, I don't know if anybody actually truly believes it yet. That's what it feels like.
I mean, that would be funny in a way because everyone would maybe like, you know what? They are very bad at drinking. So they just had like this massive hangover. It's going to pass and then everything is going to be fine. But I don't think so. I think like it's time to wake the fuck up and do fucking something because it's just, it's pretty. The only good news is that likely Orban will fall off in his like in the election that was going to happen in Hungary soon. That's a good news because hilariously as that is, he's just Orban. He's just literally Hungary, like one country. Yeah. And it like fucks up so much in the European Union right now. So I imagine that will help out a bit with like vetoing literally everything and all aid to us and them not being able to do anything with one fat fuck. So yeah, a little bit frustrating. But maybe that will improve. Romania also kind of like went off and didn't elect a fucking Russian guy, so thank fuck. And some wins have been made because even a country like that that doesn't hold as much power as like Germany, for example, or France, right? Still can be a major obstacle or a major hurdle if pro-Russian people come to power there. So, that would be good. That would be good. But I don't know, maybe something. But like I said, I don't have any hope for Europe in that sense because decisive action is not, it's not their forte, quote unquote. So, yeah. Well, maybe we can hold on for a while they think and express concern and all that. Maybe. I don't know. The front is not like falling apart, thankfully, but it's like pretty tense. Pretty much as tense as it was, like, I don't know, at the beginning, pretty much. And with the attacks as well, pretty terrific, horrible. But we do have some cool stuff. I can't really show footage of it yet, but we have filmed and showed a bunch of stuff. The guys showed us a bunch of stuff about interceptor drones, which is like a new technology that basically it's drones that hunt in drones. It's drone-on-drone action now.
Sure. I mean, it seems like that's where the war is going to be headed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but mostly you try to take down drones with the jamming technology. At first, it really worked, but then fiber optics, make it difficult, and a lot of stuff. And also, we shoot them down with like actual machine guns, obviously, like random shit. But these interceptor drones, they like pretty cool, it seems, and pretty effective. The only thing we do need is, of course, mass production of them, and that's money and all that. Complicated, but might be able to do it because we did figure out how to stop glide bombs from destroying our cities. So without, by the way, any foreign help at all, just by jamming them.
Say that again. Light bulbs or glide bombs?
Glide bombs.
Glide bombs. Is what you said. Okay,
Did I say light bombs?
I don't know. I might have misheard. Okay.
Yeah.
Glide bombs is the way. Okay.
Light bombs are very dangerous too, but I was talking about glide bombs mostly.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were like a big problem. I was actually like borderline considering to, I don't know what to do. Oh, I wrote you a very dramatic message actually. I remember when the multiple like glide bomb strikes were happening all over the place. I was like, fucking die, thank you. For your help. I remember that. I was like a little bit dramatic, but because it was pretty horrible, I was genuinely thinking that all the eastern cities would just be by that point just straight up flattened. But our guys came up with a solution in like 5 months of that. So that's not bad. Maybe they will come up with a solution to this as well. Maybe the interceptor stuff, and yeah, maybe it won't be a complete utter disaster, but maybe it will.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, who knows? Thanks. Yeah. How's the court thing going on? I watched the recent one. It seems to be going pretty all right there. How long will it be though? Like,
well, the only bad thing now is just a matter of like time and waiting. So time and money, and yeah, just bleeding away. You know, years of my life waiting for this to end. So feels good.
Are you okay with this? Chatting a little bit about that, or is it like a subject non-discussable?
No, if you want to, yeah. What's up?
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, Trump people gaslighted me, and I feel like this whole thing gaslighted me as well. Because initially I read it, obviously, because I don't want to like discard things, immediately. So I read how it's called, right? Yeah, so I read that thing, and I was like, I want to know what's up. Obviously, I wrote on Reddit. I wrote to you as well. I asked you questions about it because I wasn't Gucci with the idea of you filming people and distributing without their, the agreement, or filming them without the agreement what was told at the time, right? I wasn't okay with that, but I wanted obviously to hear what you have to say, so I messaged you first because I trust you and I respect you. I don't trust those people. Sure as fuck, not fucking Mr. Girls and all of that shit, and all that crowd, all like people, commies who like fucking hate you and all of that. So I have zero reason to trust anything they say. And yeah, but then I read the Substack, and I think I even pointed you out the bit when there were so much things that I was reading, and I'm like, am I like insane, or is this insane? Like about the thing that Hasan thing, that she was like, he is threatening to sue millionaire Hasan as if trying to. And I remember I wrote this to you, and I was like, this is like weird as shit. It's like some next level paranoia. Because, like, you have beef, obviously, with Hasan that has fuck all to do with her, and it's, like, way before anything happened, and he made, like, weird claims about you, and you were talking about maybe that's actually worth suing for, about all the, stuff. And, like, how does it have to do anything with her? And, like, a lot of things, and, like, this whole I'm Virgin Mary thing, I don't know, it's, like, all seemed so fucking strange, and now I'm, like, kind of vindicated that I wasn't,
Yeah, I feel like the clearest line of everything is the we had a big hearing I guess a month ago at this point, and I think that was a lot of stuff that was like very clearly laid out there. But the issue is I think that it went so badly for them that they moved to try to seal it afterwards so that I wouldn't be able to, so it's not published anywhere. You can't read it anywhere. So I'm just waiting for the judge to rule on the sealing, and then if I can read that, I think that like opens up a lot of stuff, but it also kind of destroys, I think, her credibility and everything on a lot of this. So, but
yeah, I'm not, I don't know much about like to be honest, other than movies about American court thing. But it's just that also I was thinking that they will like try to sue you for like how it's called in English, neglectful, something harmful, negligence, something like that.
Sure,
but. Yeah, I was thinking that will be, but no, they're actually like going for the. I couldn't believe they're going for the angle of you like spreading your own stuff just to do revenge porn on her, like when you are revenge porn victim yourself. And I will not be like this guy anymore. Okay, I will not like be like silent about it. I wasn't. I publicly spoke out a bit about it, but it's just just so stupid. I never saw anything with her before the whole thing, but I have been sent a fuck ton of your stuff.
Yeah.
So it's clearly who was like a fucking target and who wasn't in the sense, and like it's pretty fucking awful. I don't know, like I would be mad as shit, and I imagine people would be like, oh, He's maliciously spreading his own stuff. It's just absolutely wild. I don't know. It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I understand being mad about like negligent bit, perhaps, like about the but the rest is just doesn't make sense. It just seems like you just go for the biggest, what will get you the biggest compensation, and that's it.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Basically, yeah. So hopefully, if I'm really lucky, I'm done in a month. If I'm kind of unlucky, then I'm done in like 4 months. And then if I'm really unlucky, then I'm done in a year. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. People still like throw shit, which I don't like, because they're like, oh, of course you would like never be like against like anything or like supporting. I'm not supporting because you get like money for the fundraisers. People say for myself, but for the fundraiser. But I wrote specifically on GGG like subreddit and things like that about your subreddit and talk with people, and they were like, yeah, no matter if you never like go on streams, if you never like do anything, we will still like support fundraisers. So it was very clearly made to me that I don't need to be like your to publicly speak out for you or anything. People will still support because they believe in the fundraisers and they like doing the good thing, and people are happy with it, with my like being transparent and showing them everything, and they trust me and stuff, which I am very grateful for, obviously. But yeah, I'm not doing it because I'm like I wasn't doing it, like I messaged you a while back. I was like about to publish a whole like manifesto your style, and you told me not to, so I wasn't like not speaking out about it because anyway, I just felt bad because I wasn't speaking out, and I thought like I should, but people like sending me weird shit, as because you're people who hate you like the most upstanding defenders of women on earth. Truly magnificent stuff they have sent me and still continue to. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, such is life on the internet. Here we are.
Are you like at least, I don't know, partially annoyed that so many people just like dropped off without waiting for the court at all? So
listen, we cut the wheat from the chaff, I guess. But yeah, it was pretty surprising. But hey, I guess it is what it is. That's the nature of online relationships, huh?
I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. It feels bad to me. Maybe we're like weird like that, but American friends of mine say people here like are loyal dogs.
Sure.
And I don't know. It's partially a compliment, partially a meme, but to me, it's just a loyalty. Is virtuous. And just to me, I don't say you should support the fucking like I don't know, like someone is proven to be a rapist or some shit, and you should support them. Obviously not, right? But it has limits. But just dropping people like that just because it's of I don't know bad rap or inconvenience or anything like that, it just seems not good to me morally. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
What do I know, okay? Americans are impressed if I cook food for them and meet them at the train station, okay? So your standards are low.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Seriously, though, I swear. Like, people are like, oh, you cooked me breakfast? And, yeah. You're like a guest at my house, obviously. Or, like, I made them at the train station. Just, so it's easier for them to get to the place and stuff. I mean, it's fine. They're like, it's new town. They don't know places. Some don't know language as well. English people know, but not all of them, right? And it's a good thing to meet your friend, though, at the train station. And they'd be like, shukel. They're like, what is going on over there? Like, is nobody doing anything for anyone for free? Yeah, it's just very strange.
I mean, I think
maybe it's just streamer people.
Don't let the online stuff poison you. Like, I think most people are. The online stuff is kind of weird, but
yeah. My people I got to know are streamer related, and so that's affect obviously how autistic they are, I guess.
Okay.
Well,
have fun. Be careful. Stay safe.
Yeah. Same to you. Bye bye. Yeah. Have a nice evening day.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Be careful.
Bye bye.
Bye. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. Hold on 1 sec.